welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa and today I'm going to do a different video. I'm actually going to do a story time. Although my channel is going to be true crime based, I thought that it would be good to incorporate some different videos now and again, just to incorporate more of my personality and other things. So yeah, today I'm going to do a story time and it's going to be on my 2 worst dates I've ever been on. I love watching these from other people, so I thought I would just make this video. Let's just get into it. Okay, so the first date, this took place in 2017. So I would have just turned 18 at this point, and I was working in KFC, and I was working there for quite a while. So I used to kind of like talk to people in there, you know, like customers. And there was this one guy that used to come in quite a lot with his friends, and we'd kind of just like talk and stuff like that, and he'd like flirt a bit, so it was all good. And then I can't remember exactly how it happened, but we ended up like exchanging like Snapchat, Instagram, all that jazz, and then we started speaking on Instagram. So I'll see if I can put a picture in with some of this information. Yeah, anyway, so he asked me out. He said he wanted to go on a date, so I was like, yeah, why not? Like, summertime, I was 18, you know, so I was more than happy to go on a date with him. What we did is we decided to meet up near KFC where I worked, and then we were going to get the train up to Stratford Shopping Centre. So it was a nice summer day. I was feeling myself. I was 18. I dressed up like really cute and I was really looking forward to it. It was such a hot day, I remember, and I was just in a really good mood in general. I travelled to KFC and I met him there, and let's just call him Mark for this video so we don't bait him out. So me and Mark met up, and yeah, as I said, I'm quite a loud, bubbly person as it is. So I'm very sort of like outgoing when I meet people. I was just talking to him, asking him questions and stuff as we were walking to the train station, and he was like really quiet, and I just thought, oh okay, I'll just give him the benefit of the doubt, he's probably just nervous. But then it kind of got a bit awkward because I was like not sure what was up with him. He like literally didn't speak to me hardly. I'd ask him like, oh, how many brothers and sisters have you got, and he'd be like, oh, I've got one brother, or whatever he said, I can't remember. But it was really like one word answers. But as I said, I just thought, oh, he's probably just nervous, bless his heart. When we got to Stratford, I remember we were deciding on where to eat, and then we decided to go to Nando's, you know, classic Nando's date. So we went to Nando's, and when we sat down, things just got worse. He literally didn't speak to me. He didn't ask me any questions. He just seemed like I can't explain it. He just seemed like he did not want to be there. So I'm just like, what is going on? I'm like texting my friends like, I'm on this date in Stratford. I've travelled all the way up here. This guy is like can't like doesn't speak or something. We order our food, and then he gets his phone out, and he's like, I think he's like playing games or watching something on his phone, like fully like not even like, you know, when they like turn it around like landscape it. And I was just like, are you okay? Obviously I was a bit annoyed, but at the same time, as I said, I was in a good mood, so I just thought like, screw it, I'm just gonna enjoy myself. So I actually ended up ordering a glass of wine, you know, as you do, and then I offered him something because he was actually like 17 at the time. Like, I was 18, so obviously it wasn't that bad. But so I was kind of like, do you want a drink? Like, I won't tell anyone, you know. And he was like, no, I'm fine. So I was like, okay. So I ordered a glass of wine, and being the lightweight that I am, I ordered another and another, and then I ended up getting pretty smashed. But to be honest, that was like my only form of entertainment. You might think I'm exaggerating, but I'm actually not. Like, we just stopped talking to each other. It was like so, I tried so hard to speak to him, and I was just like, what's the matter? And I can't even tell you what he said. Like, I can't tell you a single thing about him because he just did not speak to me. So, you know, so basically I ended up getting really drunk. Some things never change. You know, when you're just kind of like loving life, like you're just like in your own head, like I kind of forgot he was there, to be honest. But the issue is I didn't want to leave. Like, if it was like local, I would have just left, obviously, and went and met my friends. But we'd got all the way to Stratford on the train, so I was like, I'm not really just gonna leave. So we finished our meal, and then at the time I smoked, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go outside for a cigarette, like, do you wanna come? Like, and he was like, yeah, and he just kind of followed me outside. As I say, I was literally in a world of my own, you know, when you're just like, I know I keep saying it, but you know, when you're just like, oh, like you're just drunk and you're just like, fuck it, like you're just having fun, like just being with yourself. So I went out for a cigarette and then I went back in, and then I just decided to go shopping because I had just got paid recently, so I was like, let's hit the shops up, you know. I ended up going shopping like literally like as if I was on my own, and he was literally just like following me. I went to Misguided, Topshop, Zara, you know, all that good stuff, and it was just like a little shopping trip for myself. I actually ended up trying on like loads of clothes, and I'll actually insert some pictures if I've got them. I just ended up going to Misguided and just bought like a whole summer like wardrobe, you know. I ended up spending like maybe like £70 because you know I was drunk, and you know when you're 18 you're not that responsible with money, so I was just like screw it, let's go. So I ended up buying loads of nice stuff. I still actually have some of it, so it's not all bad. And then he was literally just waiting in the changing room and the seating area like with all the other like dads and boyfriends, so he was just waiting there like still on his phone playing some game. Like I just don't know like what the hell was going on with him. Anyway, I was just finished shopping and I was walking around with my bags and all that. Uh, couldn't tell you what he said, if he said anything. So eventually, it's been a few hours and we finally speak again, and we're just like, oh, should we just go? And I was like, yeah, if you want, like, you know, I was like, get me the fuck out of here. We got on the train all the way back, and I literally had my earphones in and I was just like jamming out because I was drunk, and you know, you're just like in that feel good vibe. It was summer. I just put my earphones in. I was just listening to music. I think he kind of did the same. We were sitting next to each other though, so it was just like whatever. I was way past the point of like caring. I just wanted to like get the hell out of there. So then we finally get back off at KFC to where we met, and I go to give him a hug because I'm just one of them people. Like I just feel like I feel rude to not like give him a hug and just be like, see ya. So I gave him a hug, and I'm literally like, and then I leave, and whew, I felt so much better because it was just the most weirdest experience I've ever had. I go home and straight away I tell my mum, and we're just kind of laughing about it. We weren't being like horrible, but I just said to her like I basically just went on a date and the guy didn't say anything to me, and she just found it so funny. So we were just kind of like laughing about it. And then all of a sudden, me not expecting to hear from him because you know he obviously didn't like me if he didn't want to speak to me on the date. He texts me and he says, I had a really nice time. I really like you. I can't wait to see you again. Are you okay, hun? Was you on that date? Did you send your brother, your cousin? I don't know. So I'm literally in tears. Like, I'm just like hysteric because I'm just like, what the hell? Like, I just don't get it. I think he was probably just really nervous. But funnily enough, a few, like maybe like 2 years later, obviously I still had him on Instagram. I made a, you know, when you like ask questions on your story, like I know, but you know, I put up like ask me anything, and then I actually got one from him, and he said, I'm gonna insert the picture actually. But yeah, he basically said, "Oh, I never got that second date," and then I responded like quite rudely, but you know, you know when you're young, he just basically said that he was young, like he only just turned 17, and because I was older, probably intimidating because, like I said, I am a very outgoing person, so I don't know. But then I don't know. Don't ask people on dates if you can't speak to them. I honestly don't know how this video is going to be. Like, to be honest, I'm so used to talking about true crime and it's very serious and I love it, but this might just be all over the gaff, so if it is, then I apologise. So story number 2, I actually matched with this guy on Hinge, and we had already gone out once before this time I'm about to tell you, and the first time we went out it was pretty good enough that obviously I agreed for a second date. So yeah, so what should we call him? Let's call him Ashley. So I matched with Ashley on Hinge. We went out the first time and then we made arrangements to go out again. So the first red flag that I got with Ashley, is that on his Hinge profile, he said that he was 5'10", and that's just my preference, you know, just someone not like 6'3", but just someone a little bit taller, right? So obviously that was one of the things that I was attracted to him for. So we meet at the pub the first time, and yeah, he looked the same, but he was not 5'10". He was probably maybe like 5'6", 5'7", and you know, I have like no issue, like I've dated short guys as well, but my point is like, don't lie. Like if you're gonna lie about your height, I just think that's so shady. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, love yourself. So yeah, we go out on the second day, and I'm at work all day, and we decide to meet up London because he works up London, and he told me he's like a director for like this recruitment company. So I was like, oh okay, like cool. So he was up there already for work. He had a half day, so I finished work at 6 and I got the train up there. Also, this happened last year. This was like November 2019. I forgot to mention that. I'm on the train to meet him, and right, this I just find this so weird. So when I was on the train up there, I actually had this overwhelming feeling of just not wanting to go. It was so weird. Like it was like my instincts just telling me like, oh, like don't go. But obviously I was already on the train, but I just wasn't really looking forward to the date, you know. I think I was just kind of going for the sake of it. So he's texting me and he's like, I'm like, oh, well, have you been drinking? And he's like, no, I've just been on the OJ, like he's been on the orange juice. So I was like, oh, that's good. So I get there, I meet him at this pub, and I meet him inside. It's obviously really busy, it's like a Friday night. He's absolutely smashed, and I immediately was like, nah, this ain't it. Like, this ain't for me. He was literally smashed, and you know, like, I'm not saying like, oh, like, I know I get drunk and stuff like that, but it's like, if we're on a date and we're still really early on, I think that's like a bit disrespectful to be like completely out of your face. Like, it's embarrassing as well when I've just been coming from work and I'm like stone cold sober. So he's literally smashed, and I'm instantly turned off. I'm just like, oh no. So he orders us some drinks, and when the barmaid puts the drinks down, he goes to pay and he knocks him over all over the gaff. Oh, so embarrassing. And then he starts trying to get like drinks for free, and oh, it was just so cringy. I was just like, no, no, no. Anyway, I just thought, like, screw it, let's just have a good night, like I'm here. So we start drinking, and we had plans to get food, right? And it was actually Nando's again. I know, I love a Nando's. So we decided to go Nando's. We'd been speaking about that all week. So I was like, okay, let's go. So I'm saying I want to go to Nando's, yeah, because obviously I've been at work all day and I'm like starving. And he's literally like, oh, like that's quite far. Like, should we just stay at the pub? And I was like, no, I need to eat. So let's go Nando's. And then he like hesitantly leaves with me to go. And then there's a KFC opposite us, and he's like, oh, why don't we just go to KFC quickly, like it's like chicken. I was like, no, like what, like what's your problem, you know what I mean? I want to have Nando's, and I wouldn't just come all the way up to London just to get KFC, do you know what I mean? We start having a bit of an argument because I'm already just like fuming at the fact that he's so drunk. And obviously I win the argument, and we keep walking to Nando's. So it's like quite a long walk, but it's in like a straight line. So he is pissed, like he's so pissed, and he starts telling me that he's going to be moving to Spain in a few weeks, and then I'm just like, okay, like bit weird, like I don't know why you're like going on dates and stuff if you're just going to move, but you know, whatever. Do not obviously want to see him anyway. So we're on our way up, and he starts literally arguing with people on the streets in London. It's a red light, so everyone stops, and he runs in front of the road. And when the car starts driving, he's like screaming at this car. He's like, "You fucking fuck," like going off. And I'm literally just like, "It's a red light." So at this point, he's like screaming, shouting, like I can't remember what, but you know, just like drunk rowdiness. Just so I'm literally like, Ashley, I literally like, I'm not having fun, like I'm gonna go, like if you don't stop, because this is just like so embarrassing, and I don't, you weren't like this at first, like I don't know why you're acting like this. And he's like, oh no, please Melissa, I'm so sorry, I really really like you, like I'm sorry, like I'll stop. So I'm like, okay. So we go to Nando's, and he's just carrying on being like really like passive aggressive, like just rowdy, annoying, and I'm sober, you know, so you know when you're just like, oh no, like this is dumb. And then he suggests going to meet his friends who are in the bar down the road. You know, like if this was another day, I'd be fuming because that's so disrespectful. We're on a date, but the fact that he was like so arrogant, I was like, oh, I was like, yeah, please, like, thank you, Lord, like, let's go. Because I'd rather be with his friends and just have like a social experience with other people than just be stuck with him the whole night. So we go Nando's, and also he says he doesn't have enough money for the night. So I stupidly say, okay, don't worry, like, I'll lend you some money, like, you can pay me back. I know, but I just thought, what is wrong with you? Like, I don't expect you to buy it for me because I've got my own money, but why have you not got no money and we're going out on a date? Like, by the way, this guy was like 25, I was like 20, and like, he was like one of the first older guys I dated, so I thought like, oh, I'm gonna like be treated so well, like it's gonna be like so good. Nah, nah. Lend him like 50 quid or something, I draw it out, give it to him. And then like we get Nando's and he's like, oh, I'm gonna pay you back like in a few days. So I was like, yeah, that's cool, like that's fine. So then we go to meet his friends and we get to this pub and he's got like a really nice group of friends. I think it's like his work colleagues and they're so lovely. Like there's some girls there. I was like chatting with some of them. I got some of their Instagrams and you know, it was like quite fun. So I kind of like distance myself from him and I'm just like having fun with these other people. So as the night goes on with his friends, he's obviously drinking more and more. Like I'm not gonna lie, I was probably smashed at the end of it, but you know, he was drinking more and more and more. And even his friends turned around to me and were like, what are you doing with him? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're such a nice girl. Like, what are you doing? And I was just like, I don't know, but this is the last time I'm going to see him. No offense. So we're leaving the pub and we're kind of thinking of like an afters to go to, but no one really has any like plans. So I'm just like, I'm just going to go home. And he's like, oh, okay, like, I'm going to leave with you. I'm like, great. And then his other friend who was so lovely, like, came with us because he lived near me. So we're all on our way to Charing Cross Station, and he's like, ugh, like literally rolling around the floor like a toddler, like, oh my god, it's so embarrassing. We're on the train, and I just basically say like Ashley, I don't want to see you again. Can you send me my money back in a few days? Like, no hard feelings. And he's literally like, what? He's like, what do you mean? And he starts kicking off and he's like, oh, you just use me for my money, like just because I've got money, you've been speaking to me like you're a little girl anyway. So first of all, I don't think you do have that much money considering you couldn't even pay for your own meal in Nando's, but whatever. I'm not here to judge you on based on that. And secondly, oh, little girl, like you knew my age when you matched with me, and like, no, I hate when people act like that. Like, don't attack me when you were fine with who I was before this argument. It's so immature. So I'm basically just like arguing with him on the train. His friend is like breaking it up, and then he starts like, you know, when like people get like really drunk and he starts like hugging his mate, and he's like, she doesn't know what I've been through, Jack. Like, you know me, mate. You know what's going on. Like, blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh, I'm just kind of like being rude at this point because I'm just like, I've just said I don't want to see you, so let's just leave it at that. And then he's like, get off the train, like screaming at me. And I'm like, I'm not going to get off a moving fucking platform, am I? Just wait for the train to stop at my stop and I'll get off and be out your life. This keeps going on. It's so embarrassing. And I'm like, oh, like, make sure you send me the money, by the way. And he's like, oh no, I'm not going to send you the money. That's my own fault. His friend's just like, leave, like, Ashley, leave it. Like, she's not done anything wrong. Like, she's just trying to, like, be, like, honest with you and just say she's not feeling it. And then he's like, oh, I see. He's like, you two want to get together. Like, oh, like, like, I wasn't trying to get with his mate at all, but we were just talking because he was, like, a pleasant person, you know. And basically his mate gets off at his stop and takes him home, which is really lovely because obviously he was really, really drunk. And I just get off the train and kind of go home. And I just remember finding it so funny. I kind of videoed some of the argument as well on the train because it was just so bizarre to me. I've never experienced someone acting like that. But obviously I'm not going to include that in this video because I don't want to be too personal about them. But yeah, and then I went on Hinge to block him, and he had already updated everything, like a whole new set of pictures. He updated his height by like one, so he put himself as like 5'9", so he's getting lower and lower. So yeah, I wonder what's up with him these days, and I wonder if he's in Spain or not. So yeah, that's the end of my story time. I really hope you've enjoyed these videos. If you do, then please leave a comment about any date stories that you have, and like the video if you liked it. Thank you. Bye.